Who is that funky looking woman in the camera? Hi everybody, how you doing? I am simulcasting both on Periscope, so hello Periscope peeps, and also on YouTube. Hello, let's see who's in my YouTube chat this morning. So as I like to say, hello, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or hello tomorrow for all my Australian friends. We have a Memes, a Mitch, a Gerbil in the chat. We have a Diz, an Unchained. We have a lot of people. An MC this morning. So we have a lot of people coming to visit my little channel this morning to come up with coffee talk. Now, I know it's been a while since I've done one of these. Long while since I've done one of these. But I'm only going to be doing these on Tuesdays and Thursdays so I can do, other things during the week and get other content out and focus on my writing and do all that stuff. Hey, Seamus, how you doing? I do have a bot that's going to be, constantly reminding you that there's shit in the description. So, there's shit in the description. Just wanted you to know. So we do have a lot of topics to cover, and on Thursday, one of the topics I'm going to be heading the stream off with on Thursday is what's going on with Brexit. So be on the lookout for that. I gotta move the tip jar. I forgot where the chat box was. So there we go. Now everybody can see this. So yep, it's time for coffee and everything. So let me see if we got the bot awake this morning, because if we do, that should work. Yep, coffee talk. It should work. It should work. Come on, you stupid bot. Pay attention. I guess it's not awake. There it goes. There we go. Morning, Streamlabs bot. You were supposed to do that a little quicker, but shit happens. All right, so the first thing in the agenda this morning is we're going to go and see what's going on in government land via Twitter this morning. So we're going to be opening that up first and taking a look at that first. So death to bots. Well, some bots are good. Not all bots, but some bots are good. So first government tweet this morning is out of the U.S. Commerce Department. Spotlight on commerce when Coggins steps into new leadership role at the department. So we've got this going on this morning. Straight from the government blog. Let me open this up over here so I can look to the left and converse with you guys as I read. So that's going to be happening this morning too. Come on, laptop. I had everything open but YouTube on my laptop because I'm a doofus. I am a built-in complete doofus. No, I'm not interested in regular updates. I come here when I want, to yap it. Listen to your, what's going on. So earlier this month, Tom Gilman, Chief Financial Officer and Assistant Secretary for Administration, conducted the ceremonial swearing in for the new Commerce Deputy Assistant Secretary for Administration, Wynne Coggins, who is no stranger to the U.S. Department of Commerce family. In her 29 years of public service, she rose through the ranks at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. So she's had her way around before. Yep. So starting as an entry-level patent examiner, she worked diligently to obtain an appointment into the senior executive office. In other words, she worked her ass off, as you should, in order for, you to be recognized for your meritorious service. Oh my God, I just said she should have been hired on merits. Oh, morning, Blind Press. Yeah. Oh, my main computer and then my little laptop tells me where the chat is, so all I got to do is glance over there. So, morning, Blind Press, and welcome. So, she credits integrity and mentorships as the cornerstones of her success. It's important to lead with integrity, take smart risks, be kind, and champion others, said Wynne Coggins. Find a mentor that doesn't act, think, or make decisions like you. It will push you to consider different perspectives, broaden your horizon, and make you a better leader. Wait. She actually pushing to be open-minded and have civil discourse? Interesting. Stepping into her new role, Coggins is focused on the future. She hopes to help the public gain a better understanding of the full scope of the department's mission. Coggins added, "The work we do here makes such a tremendous impact on how all of us live our lives every day." And she found somebody. Psst, Ruby Sue. Shush. That's my 12-pound attack dog. Beware. "The work we do here makes such a tremendous impact on how all of us live our lives every day. The employees here have been so welcoming and are so dedicated. I can't imagine a better place to be." She can patent that for sure. Okay, so that's one. NASA, 90 years ago today, astronomer Clyde Tombaugh discovered Pluto. That is no longer a planet, unless they made it a planet again, because it's hard for me to keep up with that little planet. That poor thing gets a bad rap. Take a closer look at its highlands, plains, and craters in this flyover view created using data from NASA New Horizons. So we're going to, it says watch again, didn't see it the first time. So let's see. It could have been a little lighter. It's a little dark. Oh, it's a little dark. And it has no sound. Right? Yep, she most definitely does. So yeah, that's what Pluto looks like. Department of Defense. Watch soldiers from the nations first as they build a partnership to conduct artillery training for soldiers in Kenya. So we'd be training people in Kenya.
We do in a different method. In realizing that you can work in parallel and get to the same core data that you're looking for in order to do our jobs correctly is absolutely incredible. They do it a totally different way, get the same answer, and we know it's right. Not many folks can say that you come into a training environment and go to a different country. Who says they can go to Africa and work with another artillery battalion?
So that's that. And then we have something from the National Guard. Let me see. Department of State. Today, Special Representative for Venezuela, Elliot Abrams, addressed the media. Oh boy, this should be fun. So let's unmute this and see what we got to say about this.
Good morning.
Morning.
Before turning to Rosneft, I wanted to mention a couple of other things. First, I want to begin by reminding you that the Citgo 6, who were taken from house arrest 13 days ago by the regime's intelligence service, Sabine, and sent back to its prison, remain there. They're not being permitted to speak to their families or their lawyers. This cruel and indefensible imprisonment must end, and we condemn their unjust treatment. They should be permitted to leave Venezuela and return to their families. I repeat as well our condemnation of the holding of well over 350 political prisoners by the Maduro regime, including deputies Juan Requesens, Gilbert Caro, and Ismael León, and Juan Guaido's chief of staff, Roberto Morero. Second,
I give him a B- on the pronunciations. He hit some and missed others, but can't expect perfection.
we're pleased that interim president and National Assembly President Juan Guaido returned home safely a week ago, despite regime efforts to attack him and those who greeted him at the airport. Regime thugs dressed as airline employees attacked Guaido and those around.
He really should. He's got the nose, doesn't he, Mitch? He really has the nose. Yeah, Maduro ain't gonna, Maduro refuses to step down even though, the other guy already got voted in legitimately. But, oh my God. Okay, here we go. President of Russia, telephone conversation with the President of Bulgaria, Rumen Radev, implementation of energy products. And another telephone conversation with President of Turkmenistan, whose name, Gurbanguly, whose last name, no. Not even. No. Greg Abbott, as of 13 minutes ago, Governor Abbott visits Highland Village. Incredible turnout for Cronda for Texas. So that is the Cross Timbers Gazette. Texans are excited about having a Republican once again to represent HD 65. So, making rounds, Maduro. Let me see. These airmen are making sure the F-16 Fighting Falcons from the 480th Fighter Squadron are ready for each day training mission during a flying training deployment at Monte Real Air Base in Portugal. Department of Commerce, DYK, there are over 8,700 opportunity zones across the U.S., with nearly a quarter in rural areas. Learn more about the role of commerces to grow businesses and create jobs in designated opportunity zones. And when you hover over that, you get EDAs, an agency within the U.S. Department of Commerce that partners with U.S. communities to foster job creation, collaboration, and innovation. Because we here in the United States like making redundant departments. Treasury Assistant Secretary for International Finance and Development Jeffrey Okamoto joined Ivanka Trump and David Malpass and other U.S. leaders in Dubai for the WE-Fi Regional Summit to promote women's in entrepreneurship in the Middle East and North Africa because, you know, girl power. Okay, that is Operation Inherent Resolve. I still think we should be the ones naming, you know. In the chamber, House of the Chamber out of Canada this morning, special employment insurance sickness benefits. That the House call on the government to increase the special employment insurance sickness benefits from 15 weeks to 50 weeks, that's 50 weeks, in the upcoming budget in order to support people with serious illnesses such as cancer. Yves-François Blanchet is the one who sponsored that particular thing. And there is a live debate, which I am going to copy the link address and I'm going to stick it in the chat for those of you who wish to listen to it. I don't know if it's still going on, but I'm sure the link should be active enough for you guys to go check it out. All right, so next thing. 2 years of French is paying off. Secretary Scalia met several apprentices at EGGER Wood Products in Linwood, North Carolina. They're gaining valuable skills that employers need without taking on college debt. Now I'm going to scroll up here because there was something I saw this morning and things obviously keep refreshing. And I want to get to the FDA because there's a food recall. Let me see. Inherent Resolve, Terrell Sweeney, CIA, SDFL, House of Commons, Tel Aviv. Now you guys know who all I'm following government-wise on Twitter anyway. Medvedev. Like, that rolls off the tongue. And I know I'm following the Food and Drug Administration. Okay, so let's... I hate that list. It never comes up. Okay, let's do FDA. Okay. Here we go. FDA recalls. CJ Foods voluntarily recalls Anchun's Japanese-style teriyaki noodle bowls due to undeclared peanuts. So that happened. They forgot to say there's peanuts in them there hills, so they had to recall. So, company announcement date, the 14th of February. Published date, the 15th of February. We're just now finding this out. What's the date on the tweet? 3 hours ago. Hey, FDA! Get your shit together. Let me see. Reason for announcement. Undeclared peanuts. Okay, so there we have it. Nothing, unless you are highly allergic to peanuts, nothing life-threatening. Notice how So another one, Save a Lot issues allergy alert on undeclared peanuts in Coburn Farms 4.5 ounce sharp yellow cheddar cheese, cherry juice infused dried cranberries, and roasted sea salted cashews snackers. So there's another one. People ain't y'all better declare y'all nuts. Declare these nuts. I went there. So for those of you that want to pass that along, I never declare peanuts until it's too late. Alright, there we go. That's the one for the cheddar cheese and stuff. Chances are it was probably made in the same area that the cheese and stuff was, and they didn't say, has been processed in the same facility that may have nuts. Because nuts. Alright, see what I mean? You gotta love it. Oh, justice news! Federal court bars Florida tax return preparer and his business from preparing tax returns. And as I like to, don't worry everyone, cool falls. And as I like to call it, Justice News for February 18th. Federal court bars Florida tax return preparer and his business from preparing tax returns. Court also requires that the preparer and his business disgorge. What a choice of word there. Over $500,000 in ill-gotten gains. First paragraph is usually the long list of people who are involved in it. The government alleged that the defendants prepared tax returns on which the defendants fabricated businesses and related business income and expenses, claimed improper filing status, and reported false household help income. In the report and recommendation adopted by George Moody, the court found that, quote, Over the course of several years, Harris and his other tax return preparers have continually filed returns misrepresenting their customers' income, deductions, and income tax liability, and have continued to do so even after the United States filed its complaint in this action. The court further concluded, quote, that injunctive relief is appropriate and that a more limited injunction would not suffice to prevent the substantial harm that defendants would likely continue to cause if not permanently enjoined. In other words, we gotta stop these motherfuckers before they strike again. Are you defending nuts? Well, you know, for those of us that have almond, a white liquidy substance expressed from almonds when you mix them with water and stick them in a blender, maybe. Because if I say the actual title of it, somebody in my live chat's going to be triggered. Return preparer fraud is one of the IRS's dirty dozen tax scams, and taxpayers seeking a return preparer should remain vigilant. The IRS has information on its website for choosing a tax preparer and has launched a free directory of federal tax preparers. So there's that. Now we got the white hats. All right. CDC estimates that between October 1st and February 8th, there were at least 26 million illnesses, 250,000 hospitalizations, and 14,000 deaths caused by the flu. Learn more about the burden of the flu here. Click the link. So, yeah. So, actually, 26 to 36 million illnesses. Out of that, 12 to 17 million actually visited a medical facility. 250 to 440,000 were hospitalized, and 14 to 36,000 people died of influenza. You know, you would think, being the CDC, you could have more smaller ranges. I mean, shit. That's a big gap. I mean, shit. That's a big gap. Really? It's a big gap. You're talking about 22,000 death difference in here, over here, in this bottom right-hand corner. You're the CDC. You can't keep up with your own numbers? Let's see. The webpage provides weekly preliminary estimates of the cumulative in-season numbers of flu illnesses, such as medical visits, hospitalizations, and deaths in the United States. The CDC does not know the exact number of people who have been sick and affected by influenza because influenza is not a reportable disease in most areas. There we go. However, the CDC has estimated the burden of the flu since 2010 using a mathematical model that is based on data collected through the U.S. influenza surveillance system, a network that covers approximately 8.5% of the U.S. population. That's a small percentage. 27 million people isn't much when you compare it to the rest of the, population of the United States. I mean, I know it's hard to keep track of a lot of shit, but come on, you're the CDC. Saskatchewan has shaped the politics and perspectives of Senator David, I don't know how you say that last name, a fierce defender of the energy industry and a proud and passionate Western Canadian. Senator Kachuk, I guess, retires after 26 years of public service. That's from the Senate of Canada. Let me see. NWS New Orleans. Today's severe prep topic is flash flooding, which occurs when rain falls at a rate faster than can be absorbed/stored. The excess water can quickly accumulate in lower lying areas and cause rivers and streams to overflow their banks. So this is how this stuff occurs, in case you guys weren't sure about that. Almond milk. See, I didn't call it almond milk. I didn't call it almond milk. So I know how that triggers you. All right, let's see here. That's a U.S. Oh, that's how to do your stuff for your, to stay legal. Antonio Guterres. I commend the brave polio vaccine workers, mostly women, working to stamp out polio in Pakistan. You mean you're finally fucking inoculating people? Important gains have been made, but we need a concerted push to eradicate this awful disease in Pakistan. Figure that one out. Department of State. Okay, that's a live broadcast. We're not going to go through 47 minutes of this shit. All Atlantic Ocean. Oh, they're mapping the whole Atlantic Ocean. Good luck with that. Okay, Pompeo. Great meeting with the Ethiopian Prime Minister to discuss expanding the U.S.-Ethiopia partnership. I emphasize the importance of free and fair elections in 2020 and our deep appreciation for Ethiopia's leadership to ensure peace and stability in the Horn of Africa. All right, let me see here. Oh, here we go. The latest, this was 58 minutes ago, the latest CDC hashtag flu activity report is out. It shows New York City, Puerto Rico, and 44 states experiencing high flu activity. Find out if your state is on the list. Everybody's state is on the list at this point. Low risk is D.C., Florida, Alaska. Minimal is Idaho. That's Idaho. Moderate is Nevada, Oregon. I suck at geography, so please excuse me. That's Montana. That's Michigan. I think. That's New Hampshire. I'm either getting this quiz really right or really wrong, because my geography sucks ass. So there's that. There's your flu. And, House Republicans. President Donald Trump has been acquitted for life. They're still going over this. The left needs to accept that, move on, and work on a truly bipartisan fashion on things that will help Americans, like prescription drug reform, rural broadband expansion, border security, and sensible regulation. In case you guys missed this utter stupidity this morning, we're going to go over this now.
There was no acquittal. You can't have an acquittal unless you have a trial.
The trial was you idiots. Without any formal charges, without any real fucking evidence, and then the Senate acquitted them. Yes, he's acquitted. You dumbass. What drugs are you on? Can I have some?
You can't have a trial and you have witnesses and documents. So he can say he's acquitted and the headlines can say acquitted, but he's impeached forever, branded with that, and not vindicated.
He was vindicated when the Senate acquitted him. You people are just... The gold medal Olympic style mental gymnastics that these people exhibit is just absolutely mind-boggling at this point. Because that is just pure stupid. She opened her mouth and pure stupid just fell out. Because that's the only thing that you can explain that as. Because you guys tried to impeach him. You took it to the Senate. The Senate realized that you were railroading him on shit that couldn't even be codified as any kind of, illegal activity. And so they acquitted him. But you're sitting here trying to say there was no acquittal. Nancy, I have a question for you, Nancy. What kind of drugs do they have you on? And can you pass some this way, honey? Because I'd like your kind of delusional. I would like your kind of delusional every now and again. Really. All right, so there's a haunting beauty to a misty sunrise. This is out of the Everglades. The wisps of fog floating above the water and drifting among the trees lend mystery to this amazing wilderness. So, by Juan Peña, the Everglades this morning. Nancy is on the wrong pills and they're reacting badly to the Botox. The staff will be coming for her with butterfly nets. Oh my goodness. Okay. So that, everybody knows what that means. So we are going to we're going to start with the numbers and then we're going to go over, I'm going to leave it over here for a minute. And then we're going to go over to my Evernote because a lot of you know I love using Evernote. Unfortunately, I got to go to the bathroom. This is when I need a partner. I'll see how long I can make it before I really gotta go. Yeah, I'm holding it. All right, here we go. Virus claims life of hospital director when hard hit. I'm not going to read that story. The only reason that I pulled this up was for these numbers. So as of today, according to the AP, 2 hours ago, let me refresh this. Okay, as of today, China, confirmed cases, 72,436 people. Deaths, 1,888. 610 confirmed cases in Japan, 1 death. 81 in Singapore with no deaths. Hong Kong, 58 confirmed cases, 1 death. No deaths in Thailand or South Korea. However, Thailand has 35 confirmed. South Korea has 31. Taiwan, 22 confirmed cases with 1 death. Malaysia, 22 confirmed cases, no deaths. 16 apiece for Vietnam and Germany, no deaths yet. 15 confirmed cases for the US, no deaths. Australia, 14 confirmed cases, no deaths. France, 12 confirmed cases, 1 death. Macau, 10 confirmed cases. United Arab Emirates, 9 confirmed cases. 9 confirmed cases also for the United Kingdom, 8 for Canada, 3 for India, all with no deaths. Philippines has 3 confirmed cases with 1 death. Italy has 3 with no deaths. Russia has 2 and Spain have 2 with no deaths. The rest have 1, which is Nepal, Cambodia, Sri Lanka, Finland, Sweden, Belgium, and Egypt. Only 1 confirmed case, no deaths. Put Ruby Sue on while you pee. I'll probably wind up doing that, depending on whether or not I can get her on camera. She's chomping on one of her toys, waiting for mommy to pay her some attention. Because she don't understand. Mommy had to work. So yeah, those are the numbers as of today. So I'm going to try and keep that up. There's going to be another, probably more updated numbers on Thursday. And I'll go into that on Thursday before we go into the rest of the stories. So there is that. And here we go. And then we're going to close Chrome. So hundreds of Americans flown home from cruise ship, 14 with coronavirus. Can we tack another 0 under the Chinese government? Right. They keep lying. It's just the problem with the numbers out of China is you don't know if they're accurate because, China wants to look better than it actually is, which is sad, really. It's really sad. More than 300 American cruise liner passengers, including 14 who tested positive for the coronavirus, were flown home to military bases in the United States after 2 weeks under quarantine off Japan. The cruise ship Diamond Princess, with more than 400 cases, by far the largest cluster outside China, has become the biggest test so far of other countries' ability to contain an outbreak that has killed 1,770 people in China and 5 elsewhere. Well, now we know there's a little bit more than 5. Although U.S. officials said passengers with coronavirus symptoms would not be taken, 14 passengers found at the last minute who have tested positive were permitted to board the planes. The U.S. Senate Department, the U.S. State Department said the infected passengers were kept in isolation on the flights. We already know about the totals in China. I read those. Epidemiologists say it is probably still too early to say how well the outbreak is being contained within China and its central hub Hubei province where the virus first appeared. Official figures of new cases have leveled off in the past, only to jump suddenly after changes in methodology. Let me see. It's almost, yeah, I know. They're in denial. But the ruling Communist Party is also under pressure to prevent the economy from crashing and get people back to work. China's central bank cut the interest rate on its medium-term lending, a move that is expected to pave the way for a reduction in the benchmark of loan prime rate on Thursday. Beijing has also announced plans for cuts in taxes and fees. Even so, economists expect China's economic growth to slow. Ratings agency Moody's on Monday lowered its 2020 GDP growth forecast to 5.2%, making it likely China would miss a goal to double GDP over the decade to 2020. Cruise ships. Around half of all known cases of the virus outside China have been found aboard the Diamond Princess, where around 400 people have tested positive since the cruise liner was ordered to stay under the quarantine off Japan on February 3rd. China needs to get back to work, listen to this, or suffer economic consequences. Right? They don't care about pesky laws, Seamus. There's a proposal to delay the opening of the annual season of Parliament due on February 24th. Some cities remain in lockdown, streets are deserted, employees are nervous, and travel bans and quarantine orders are in place around the country. Many factories have yet to reopen, disrupting supply chains in China and beyond. Organizers of the Tokyo Marathon have decided to limit the March 1st race to top-level athletes banning 38,000 general participants, a person with knowledge of the issue told Reuters, probably because the other people are probably sick and they don't want it to spread to the other marathon runners. But that's just me. You know, that's why I rant so often, right? It's never the left's fault. They can commit so many atrocities, it's absolutely sickening, but it's never their fault because people are always making excuses for them. Let me see here. So I think, yep, now's about that time. So let me go ahead and I'm going to put the camera on the puppy. Put the puppy. What? What? You're looking at me kind of funny. That's a ruby nose. Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh. That's a ruby nose. You want to be on camera, girly? Come on, chair. Good girl. All right. All right. Now it's my turn to go to the bathroom here. So let me go take my bio real quick because, you know, you can only put the nature on hold for so long. Ruby will get her snackos. She just doesn't like it when I shut the door on her. She was fine until I shut the door, and then she's like, "Ah! Is mommy leaving me?" It went right to the door and started scratching it. All right, next one. Airlines suspend China flights due to coronavirus outbreak. This is a long list. American Airlines, China and Hong Kong flights from April 24th to March 27th. Air France said on February 6th it would suspend flights to and from mainland China for much of March. Air Seoul, the South Korean budget carrier, suspended China flights from the January 28th until further notice. Air Tanzania, which planned to begin charter flights in China in February, postponed its maiden flights. Air Mauritius, I can't say that, suspended all flights to China and Hong Kong. Austrian Airlines until end of February. British Airways, January 29th to March 31st. Delta Airlines, February 2nd to April 30th. Egypt Air, February 1st until further notice. Al Israel Airlines said on February 12th it would suspend its Hong Kong flights until March 20th and reduce its daily flights to Bangkok. It suspended flights to Beijing from January 30th to March 25th. Iberia Airlines from February 29th until the end of April, and flights from Madrid to Shanghai. Jeju Air Company Limited, Korean airline, all China routes starting March 1st. Nope. Kenya, March 31st until future notice. KLM will extend its banned up to March 15th. And as you can see, Lion Air, LOT, Oman, Saudi Arabia State Airline, Qatar, Rwanda Air. Wow, that does not roll off the tongue. I'm sorry, Rwanda. Scoot Singapore Airlines, United Airlines, Vietjet and Vietnam Airlines. Air Canada extended the suspension of its flights to Beijing and Shanghai until March 27th. It also suspended its Toronto to Hong Kong flights from March 1st to March 22nd. But its Vancouver to Hong Kong routes remain active. Air China, there's two different ones over here from between China and the United States, and to Athens, Greece. So there's a couple of different routes they canceled. Air New Zealand suspended Auckland-Shanghai service. ANA Holdings suspended routes including Shanghai and Hong Kong. And then you have workers in protective suits disinfect a commercial complex. In other words, there was a video there. And Evernote went, no, we're not putting the video here. Cathay Pacific Airways plans to cut a third of its capacity over the next 2 months. It has encouraged its 27,000 employees to take 3 weeks of unpaid leave in a bid to preserve cash. So they're in monetary trouble as well as everything else. Emirates and Etihad, I guess that's the way you say that, major international transit hubs, suspended flights to and from China except for Beijing. There is no Canada as long as there's a Trudeau. I'm sure blind press would completely agree. Finnair canceled all flights to mainland China and decreased the number of flights to Hong Kong. Hainan Airlines suspended flights between Budapest, Hungary and Chongqing. Korean Airlines, national flag carrier, suspended 8 routes to China. Philippine Airlines cut the number of flights. Qantas Airways suspended direct flights to China. Royal Air Moroccan Airlines suspended direct flights to China. Russia, all Russian airlines with the exception of national airline Aeroflot, stopped flying to China from January 31st. Nordic Airline SAS extended its suspension of flights. Singapore Airlines suspended or cut capacity on flights to Beijing. UPS canceled 22 flights to China because of the virus and normal manufacturing closures due to the Lunar New Year holiday. Virgin Atlantic extended its suspension, and Virgin Australia said it would withdraw from the Sydney-Hong Kong route from March 2nd because it was no longer a viable commercial route due to growing concerns over the virus and civil unrest in Hong Kong. So, there is all of those. If you guys would like to pass that on, here is the link to the... Come on, paste it. There you go. There is the link there if you guys want to pass that along. For anybody you know likes to travel a lot. Let's minimize that. Okay, here we go. Next one. Xi's early involvement in virus outbreak raises questions. One's in the chats. If you are not the least bit surprised that people are suspicious of how he handled this whole situation. I know I'm not. Let me see if I have any action over there on Periscope. Flip it. Nope. Dana Nero joined, though. I have one person over there. You know, the more I do this on a regular basis, I'm sure the more I'll have people pop in. So, a recent speech by Chinese President Xi Jinping that has been published by state media indicates for the first time that he was leading the response to a new virus outbreak from early on in the crisis. In the speech, Xi said he gave instructions on fighting the virus on January 7th and ordered the shutdown that began on January 23rd. That's a discrepancy of 2 weeks, 2 days, of cities at the epicenter of the outbreak. His remarks... wait a minute. His remarks were published by state media late Saturday. You see the delay? I personally think the delay was because they had to make sure that, you know, everything was hunky-dory with the speech, so to speak, and nothing was said that shouldn't have been said, so it probably went through a lot of censures before it, you know, was released to the public, so other eyes could see it, because, you know, that's the way communism works. Yep. In the speech, Xi said he gave instructions on fighting the virus on January 7th and ordered the shutdown that began on 23rd. Wait a minute. On January 22nd, in light of the epidemic's rapid spread and the challenges of prevention and control, I made clear a request that Hubei province implement comprehensive and stringent controls over the outflow of people, Xi told a meeting of the party's standing committee, its top body. The number of new cases in mainland China fell for a third straight day. We already got the numbers. Commission spokesman Mi Feng said the percentage of severe cases has dropped to 7.2% of the total from a peak of 15.9% the 27th of January. The proportion is higher in Wuhan, the Hubei city where the outbreak started, but has fallen to 21.6%. That number is still a little high for comfort. Taiwan Central News Agency reported that the person who died was a man in his 60s living in central Taiwan. He had not traveled overseas recently and had no contact with virus patients. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe convened an experts meeting to discuss the measures to contain the virus in his country, where more than a dozen cases have emerged in the past few days without any obvious link to China. That's scary. Xi's role was muted in the early days of the epidemic, which has grown into one of the biggest political challenges of his 7-year tenure. Because, he'd been there for 7 years. He ain't perfect. Nobody is. Of course, when you're a communist leader, you're not perfect because you're communist. That's just my, opinion. Communism. It's not clear why the speech was published now. One message could be that local authorities should take responsibility for failing to take effective measures after Xi gave instructions in early January. Alternatively, it may mean that Xi, as the top leader, is willing to take responsibility because he was aware of the situation, Zhang said. Or he became apprised of the situation and decided to shelve shit until 16 days later. But that's a tinfoil hat, and we don't do tinfoil hats around here. Trust in the government's approach to outbreaks remains fractured after the SARS epidemic of 2002 and 2003, which was covered up for months. Authorities in Hubei and Wuhan faced public fury over their initial handling of the epidemic. In apparent response, the Communist Party's top officials in Hubei and Wuhan were dismissed and replaced last week. Dismissed? Question mark? Hubei announced Sunday that all vehicle traffic will be banned across the province, expanding on an existing ban in Wuhan in another step to try and stop the spread of the virus. Exceptions will be made for vehicles involved in epidemic prevention and transporting daily necessities. People gotta eat. People gotta eat, yo. People gotta eat. That's it for that one. All right, so to me, this is absolutely, this is a prime example of a disconnect in a government and how all hell can break loose if this disconnect is allowed to go on. Because I'm going to do this. I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to put this in bold. This is why I love using my Evernote. Because now that's in bold. 16 days from the time he became apprised of the situation about the virus to any action was taken. Now, there's a lot of things that can happen within 16 days. There's a lot of whys and wherefores, how this shit happened, where was the miscommunication, why did it take so long to get out there, or why did it take so long for us to find out what was going on in China? Because remember, when the first numbers started coming out, the first numbers were fudged. Someone on Twitter basically risked life and limb from Wuhan to tell everybody how serious the situation actually was, because the Chinese government was putting a kibosh on any actual accurate reporting from the virus outbreak, which is typical of a communist regime, whether it's set up in branches or a dictatorship. Because when they control all of the information, they don't want it leaked as to how bad things actually are. So you have people, a few people here and there, that are willing to take their life in their hands and actually release information that is not government sanctioned so people can actually see how bad shit actually is. And I say risk their lives because if they get caught releasing this non-government approved message, they can never be seen again. They just disappear. Now, whether they get put into jail or killed is, that's arbitrary. They're just never seen again because they went against the government's wishes and they supplied information that the government did not approve for release. That's the way these governments work. They don't want to look bad, so they will do anything to fudge numbers in order to look good. All right, next one. Okay, this one is going to trigger a lot of people, because I know it did me when I saw it. Disgraced religious order tried to get abuse victim to lie. Yeah. That happened. And that pissed me off to no fucking end when I read that headline, because wow. All right. So here we go. The Cardinal's response was not what Yolanda Martinez had expected or could abide. Her son had been sexually abused by a priest of the Legion of Christ, a disgraced religious order. And now she was calling Cardinal Valacio de Paoles, the Vatican official appointed by the Pope to lead the Legion and clean it up, to report the settlement the group was offering and to express her outrage. No, that never happens, right? Martinez's family would receive 15,000 euros, which is $16,300 from the order, but in return, her son would have to recant the testimony he gave to Milan prosecutors that the priest had repeatedly assaulted him when he was a 12-year-old student at the order's youth seminary in northern Italy. He would have to lie. Yep. The cardinal didn't seem shocked or didn't share her indignation. See, this tells me the cardinal was in on it. I mean, because how can you, if you consider yourself truly pious and truly fucking religious, how can you not be shocked or look indignant when somebody comes to you and go, these people offered me money for my son to lie? I want the Catholic Church charged as a criminal conspiracy. Yeah, it should be. It should be. The conversation between the aggrieved mother and Pope Benedict XVI's personal envoy was wiretapped. The tape, as well as the 6-page settlement proposal, are key pieces of evidence in a criminal trial opening next month in Milan. Right, is exactly why organized religion is stupid. Prosecutors allege that Legion lawyers and priests tried to obstruct justice and extort Martinez's family by offering them money to recant testimony. The person that, Vladimir Resendiz Gutierrez is the one that is under the investigation that they're hoping to quash. Lawyers for the 5 suspects, declined to comment. The Legion says they have professed innocence. Of course you profess innocence, because you don't want to sit there and go, yeah, I diddled those kids, fuckers. A spokesman said that at the time, the Legion did not have in place the uniform child protection policies and guidelines that are now mandatory across the order. Excuse me, I don't give a shit about your fucking Vatican guidelines. Diddling a kid is wrong. Period. Under any fucking circumstance. Why do you need guidelines in the papacy to say something that shouldn't be at all for any reason whatsoever? Diddling a child is bad, wrong, deplorable, disgusting, abhorrent. I mean, I can come up with fucking synonyms all goddamn day long, and you're sitting here saying that, at the time the Legion didn't have in place the uniform child protection policies and guidelines. Really? You didn't have enough common sense to realize that if you're an old fart and you're looking at a 12-year-old boy that you don't diddle the kid? You need a guideline to tell you that? This is why the Catholic Church is just another government that should be disbanded. I completely agree. In addition, the evidence shows that when De Paolis first learned about Resendez's crimes in 2011, he approved an in-house canonical investigation but didn't report the priest to police. He broke the law and you didn't call the police. Wow. And when he learned 2 years later that other Legion priests were apparently trying to impede the criminal investigation into his crimes, the Pope's delegate didn't report that either. He diddled a kid. He scarred that child for life. And your first response as an organization is to cover it up and throw money at it and try and get the child to lie. A few hours after he spoke with Martinez, God, Emperor was right, the powerless opened the Legion's 2014 assembly, where he formally ended the mandate given to him by Benedict to reform and purify the religious order. Oh my God, this is disgusting. This is something that just shouldn't happen. I'm sorry. You know, there are a lot of us, and I'm including me because most of you who know me know this. There are a lot of us out there that were sexually abused. So we can sympathize with this kid. What we can't do is really take it a step further. Well, I can. Because not only is this kid walking around with these scars for the rest of his life, now, depending on how devout he was with the Catholic Church, he is feeling absolutely fucking betrayed. Because the church that was supposed to protect him is in turn protecting the person that sexually abused him. See, I am a deeply spiritual person. I am spiritual. I am not religious. If you guys know the difference between the two, type 1 in the chat. Because that just pisses me off. Oh my God, that pisses me off. All right, here we go. It shouldn't happen. This shouldn't happen. This shouldn't happen. Now, there are lots of arguments out there as to why this is prevalent in the Catholic Church. And a lot of them point to the Bible and the way that the Catholics interpreted the Bible in saying that a priest should not get married because they're married to God. Which is the same reason why they say nuns should take a vow of chastity and monks shouldn't have sex. Okay? And I've never, ever once agreed with that particular Catholic doctrine. Because you're making someone go against their natural nature in order for them to follow the path that they are called to walk, so to speak. I mean, it's stupid. You want them to ignore the fact that, there are chemical and emotional attractions inherent in every human being. Seamus, it really says it in the good book, The Utter God-Forsaken Spoon, he should be fed to the wood chipper feet first. Yeah. All right, next one. Here we go. Boy Scouts file for bankruptcy due to sex abuse laws. I swear to God, I did. I actually found the Boy Scout one before I found the church one. But it seems to be... I'm glad my channel isn't monetized because this would be demonetized. I swear to God, this would be demonetized. Whoo-wee. Like, quickly. Because I keep saying all these words that get you demonetized on YouTube. The Chapter 11 filing in federal bankruptcy court in Wilmington, Delaware sets in motion what could be one of the biggest, most complex bankruptcies ever seen. Scores of lawyers are seeking settlements on behalf of several thousand men who said they were molested as scouts by scout masters or other leaders decades ago, but are now only now eligible to sue because of recent changes in their state's statute of limitation laws. For those of you that are wondering, that are not from the United States, the statute of limitations for most of the states is 5 years. 5 years. Hey, Batman. By going to bankruptcy court, the scouts can put those laws on hold for now, but ultimately they could be forced to sell off some of their vast property holdings, including campgrounds and hiking trails, to raise money for a compensation trust fund that could surpass $1 billion. The Boy Scouts are just the latest major American institution to face a heavy price over sexual abuse. Roman Catholic dioceses across the country and schools such as Penn State and Michigan State have paid out hundreds of millions of dollars in recent years. Hi, Cynical Lindsay. Welcome to my main channel. I've seen you on my geek channel plenty. The number of youths taking part in scouting has dropped below 2 million. The organization has tried to counter the decline by admitting girls But its membership rolls took a big hit January 1st when Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because they just can't call themselves the Mormon Faith Church. It's this long-ass fucking title because they're faithful. Even though, you know, the name of the angel that gave the plates to what's-his-butt, his name is Moroni. You take the I off the end, you get moron. But who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Not anybody to judge, even though that is kind of a dumb name for an angel. But anyway. For decades, a major sponsor of Boy Scout units cut ties and withdrew more than 400,000 scouts in favor of programs of its own. Most of the newly surfacing cases date to the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The organization says there were only 5 known abuse victims in 2018. The Boy Scouts credit the change to an array of prevention policies adopted in the mid-80s, including criminal background checks that were mandatory, abuse prevention training for all staff and volunteers, and a rule that 2 or more adult leaders be present during all activities. Mandatory background checks. Okay. Abuse prevention training for all staff and volunteers. Could that have been circumvented by having extensive psychiatric evaluations to see if they even were capable of doing what they were capable of doing? Because I think there's a way, psychiatrically speaking, that you can figure out if the person is abusive or not. Hello, William Stenchover. How you doing? But, you know, and that 2 or more adult leaders be present during all activities. Well, apparently, and if both of them are kitty diddlers, I mean, how good is that? I'm sorry, but if you're going to take them to campgrounds and all this shit, I want cameras. I want cameras. And the only time that there isn't a camera is in the kids' tent. Hello, Dragon Turtle, and welcome. Also, teachers, cops, and even some parents have pimped their kids out. Can we just accept there are pedos everywhere and need better screening for people around kids? I can agree to that. I can agree to that, Dragon Turtle. The BSA said it is encouraging all victims to come forward to file a claim in the case. A deadline for filing claims has not been set by the bankruptcy court, but the BSA said that would likely happen later this year. So, according to a court deposition, the files as of January listed 7,819 suspected abusers and 12,254 victims. I'm going to put that in bold, and I'm just going to leave that there for a couple of seconds. I mean, it needs new inquisition for this stuff. Yeah, it does. 7,819 suspected abusers, starting from 1960 to present day. Think about that for a minute. These people went unchecked until recently. So they were allowed to be around children from 1910 on and racked up 12,254 victims. That's 12,254 children who are forever scarred as adults now, in this day and age. Not that they weren't scarred as a child when it happened. Seamus, have you seen how cops work? One escalates prior to the second officer, and the Thin Blue Line gang protects both even when they're... Yeah, I've seen it. If you've taken money from a church to keep you quiet, keep quiet after your kid was fiddled, you have made your child... Yeah, I agree. You've made your child a prostitute then. You hoard them out. Yep, I completely agree. Alright, so we're going to do this. I'm going to open up Chrome because... Obviously, when something like this happens, you naturally expect the organization to have some sort of, oh, I don't know, statement. Gee, that looks like a statement. Let's read the statement. Media contact at PR@scouting.org. The Boy Scouts of America files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy to equitably compensate victims while ensuring scouting continues across the country. You guys are going to go out of fucking business. Ain't no... let me see here. And don't forget, all the links to support the content, including the Streamlabs link and merch links, are in the description below. If you do happen to click on the Humble Bundle link, that is an affiliate link. I will get a kickback for that. But yeah, if you guys want to tip the Streamlabs link is down below. I don't have a bot that shutters that around. I just put it in the description. February 18th, 2020, out of Irving, Texas. The Boy Scouts of America today announced that the national organization has filed for bankruptcy under Chapter 11 of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code to achieve 2 key objectives. Equitably compensate victims who were harmed during their time in scouting and continue carrying out its mission for years to come. Your fucking reputation is tarnished. You're done. You're done. The BSA intends to use the Chapter 11 process to create a victims' compensation trust that would provide equitable compensation to victims. Scouting programs, including unit meetings and activities, council events, other scouting adventures, and countless service projects will continue throughout this process and for many years to come. For many years as they will let you, because you're fucked. The BSA fully intends to maintain its commitments to its members, families, volunteer leaders, employees, retirees, donors, and alumni to the fullest extent permitted by bankruptcy laws. The organization also will pay its vendors and partners for all goods and services delivered from today forward. Local councils, which provide programming, financial facility, and administrative support to scouting units and their communities, have not filed for bankruptcy. They are legally separate, distinct, and financially independent from the national organization. The BSA cares deeply about all victims of abuse. Really? Really? Then how come a lot of these people that were under investigation, that were accused and had all these allegations against them, why were they still allowed to be troop leaders? Because they were. That's another issue that's going on with this. They were allowed to continue and return to their titles while all this shit was going on. Hi, Patriarchy Bear. Yeah, I mean, I used to be a Girl Scout. I was a Girl Scout when I was little. I mean, Scouts is really good. But, you know, this shit is just, they're tarnished. Their reputation, they're done. They're fucking done. I mean, one of these main issues is while these people were under investigation, while it was alleged, and all these allegations were coming forward through all of these people in these different ranks of the Boy Scouts of America, were allowed to go back to their positions and do business as usual. We are outraged that there have been times when individuals took advantage of our programs to harm innocent children, but you let them go back. That's one of the main issues. You let them go back. Why on God's fucking green earth did you allow someone under the investigation of being a child molester to go back to being among children until they were either cleared or put in prison? While we know nothing can undo the tragic abuse the victims suffered. No fucking shit, Sherlock. We believe the Chapter 11 process with the proposed trust structure will provide equitable compensation to all victims while maintaining the BSA's important mission. You're paying them off. Establishment of the Victims' Compensation Trust and support for victims of abuse. The BSA has an important duty to keep children safe. You did. Supported and protected. You didn't. You didn't. While preparing them for their futures, and the organization has every intention of continuing to fulfill these important responsibilities. Tragically, there have been times when individuals took advantage of the BSA's program to harm children, and you let them back in. The BSA firmly believes that a proposed Victims' Compensation Trust structure is the best means of compensating victims in a way that is equitable and protects their identities. The BSA encourages victims to come forward to file a claim as the bankruptcy process moves forward and will provide clear and comprehensive notices about how to do so. BSA has for years funded in-person counseling for any current or former scout who was a victim of abuse, as well as victims' family members by a provider of their choice. As an extension of this commitment to supporting victims, if you would have supported the victims, you would have yanked the people that were under investigation out of their fucking positions and not allowed them to continue under the capacity that they were continuing under until all investigations were done. These are empty words, in my opinion. These are empty fucking words, in my opinion. Empty words. As an extension of this commitment to supporting victims, the BSA recently announced a partnership with 1 in 6, a trusted national resource for male survivors, to expand their services so that victims of abuse are able to anonymously access vital support from trained advocates and how they need it. Victims can access the 1 in 6 services at www.1in6.org/BSA. This is a multi-year commitment which the BSA feels is an important component of its ongoing efforts to support victims. Oh, Lord. Hello, Fenrir. Long time no see. Dragon Turtle. Hail. In all seriousness, no, there is a small chance it brings down the CCP, so it's one good thing. Yeah. Patriarchy. Once a Krona-chan hits us hard, we will get to watch the weak die and social retards become powerless. Corona-chan is our savior. The housing market in Canada will be cheap again. But who wants to live in Canada? Hey, baby! Hi, hubby! Kill all pedos. I agree. Even the migrants are leaving. Too cold, apparently. Dragon. Scouting. Okay, see, this is the part where, this is, to me, that's a nice thought. Scouting will continue to provide unparalleled programs to young people, keeping them safe, supported, and protected as it prepares them for their futures. Those are pretty words. Those are pretty words that are wonderfully arranged in a certain order so as to sound very political. Like you're trying to cover your ass, even though you have dug yourself a hole so deep, it's probably halfway through the Earth's crust by now. Your words are empty. The only thing you're doing of any positive thing is putting your money where your mouth is with the funding thing. But the problem is you filed for Chapter 11, which is going to keep that money from being circulated for however long it takes because you filed for bankruptcy. So in the end, even though you say you're setting up a fund, the fund is an empty gesture because you filed for bankruptcy. I don't get it. If America was smart, they would woo Saskatchewan into joining the states. Hear me out. Okay. All right, Patriarchy Bear. We will hear you out. Let me see here. We're going to get Chrome out. We're going to put Evernote back up here. Yep. All right. So. Potash, the largest stockpile of fertilizer next to only Russia. Alright, here we go. Next story. Amazon wins court injunction, halting work on $10 billion Jedi contract it lost to Microsoft. Yes, it's an acronym. Dagnabbit. They're not training real Jedi. The federal judge just put the brakes on a major military contract after Amazon argued it only lost out to rival Microsoft because the president wanted to screw CEO Jeff Bezos. I don't know. This injunction marks the last development in the Joint Enterprise Defense Infrastructure, JEDI. Gotta love how they came up with that. Project's ongoing saga. The $10 billion purchase order to set up cloud computing services for the Department of Defense was awarded to Microsoft as last October after a years-long bidding period between several tech giants. Firstly, for the court to pause work on the project, a requested grant by Judge Patricia Campbell Smith of the U.S. Federal Claims Court with Thursday's injunction. Okay, the problem is, at this very same time, okay, you were having, wasn't it sometime last year that was hitting the headlines about Amazon's cloud system being compromised, easy to be hacked into, people were leaking shit from it all the time? Or am I just hallucinating that? Did I kind of forget that happened, or did that actually happen and I'm remembering it correctly? You guys let me know when it gets to you. Firstly, okay, 1 minute. Boop. The second put President Donald Trump himself on the stand. Your Honor, over the years, Trump's publicly attacked Bezos, or Jeff Bozo, as he's taunted him on one occasion. You gotta love it when they throw in the taunts. This is our shitlord in chief we're talking about. If he doesn't like somebody, we're gonna know it. On everything from Amazon's decimation of brick and mortar businesses to avoiding taxes. Now, this is where I'm going to point out that Gizmodo put, now here's some true irony. These people have these businesses and they don't understand how taxes work. Because how much you want to bet that now here's some true irony is because they've never actually seen his tax forms. Not that it's mandatory for someone to turn them over during the course of them being president or campaigning to be president. That fact keeps going right over their head. I need a peanut gift. It just... Let's not gloss over his distaste for the Bezos-owned newspaper and the WAPO for its less than flattering coverage. It is. WAPO and other MSN outlets have less than favorable coverage of the president because he's not Hillary Killington. Let's face it. WAPO, New York Post, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, NBC, all these mainstream media outlets wanted Hillary Killington in the White House. They didn't want Trump. They didn't want Trump. And until, they've just submitted another 4 years, but that's another conversation. Amazon claimed that Pentagon officials did not review the company's most up-to-date submissions for the Jedi project before issuing the award to Microsoft. We have confidence. Here we go. Still, Microsoft was understandably disappointed with the additional delay. We have confidence in the Department of the Defense, and we believe the facts will show that they ran detailed, thorough, and fair process. The statement continue. This is stupid. This is petty competition in action. This is petty competition in action. That's all this is. And now, Apple, because Apple's under fire, because this happened. This so happened. Court orders Apple to pay workers for off-the-clock bag checks. That's right. California Supreme Court believes Apple should have to pay store employees for time spent doing off-the-clock bag and phone checks by managers or security personnel. It's not clear how much Apple would need to pay, even though their quarterly revenue of almost $92 billion turned a profit of $22.3 billion with a B, billion. The decision stems from a 2013 case when two employees, Amanda Flecken and Dean Pell, led a class action lawsuit that alleged Apple should have been paying employees for security searches after they clocked out. Well, yeah. The state's high court ruling doesn't mean Apple employees get back pay immediately. The case now returns to a California district court where a judge will likely use a Supreme Court opinion to make a final ruling. If any kind of business stuff needs to be done on the clock, Apple did not respond to requests for comment about the ruling. The company does not publicly disclose a head count for its store-based employees. Right, because, everything Apple is just fucking weird. Apple is a shit company. They are a bunch of tards selling tards with too much money. They're overpriced, overhyped, overrated. But some people are stuck using their products because, like my friend Blind Press, it has more, the laptop itself has more peripherals to help her actually stream and stuff. So, let me see here. Cantil, whose other half of the name I'm not even going to try and pronounce, wrote in her decision that Apple's argument had holes, such as its contention that employees don't need to bring bags to work. Purses, hello purses, women carry purses. I'm not a woman that carries a purse, but women carry purses. Given that Apple now listen to this. Tell me this is not a fucking cult of personality. Given that Apple requires its employees to wear Apple-branded apparel while working, but directs them to remove or cover up such attire while outside the Apple store, it is reasonable to assume that some employees will carry their work uniform or a change of clothes in a bag in order to comply with Apple's compulsory dress code policy. I'm going to bold that, and I'm going to read it again. Given that Apple requires its employees to wear Apple-branded apparel while working, but directs them to remove or cover up such attire while outside the Apple store. Really? Katz said the Apple uniform policy made a big difference when the justices were forming their views on this legal case. I've never seen an employer in terms of retail that made it virtually impossible not to bring a bag to the premises, Katz said. Apple may tailor its bag search policy as narrowly or as broadly as it desires and may minimize the time required for exit searches, Cantil, whose last name I can't pronounce, said. But it must compensate those employees to whom the policy applies for the time spent waiting for and undergoing these searches. Yeah, exactly. I don't like Apple. Yeah. That's why I've never gotten an Apple computer. They're overpriced and you can't upgrade them like you can a regular PC. It's stupid. They're very, very cultish in their way of doing things. Right to own. Seriously, that is the future they are trying to make, where you never own the products, you just rent them and be grateful. Well, a lot of people look at me and argue with me when I say this. Before I show you my merch store. You can qualify for, start making mortgage payments, and live in a home. You can make these payments until you think you own your home. And I say you think you own your home because there's a problem. You can have your entire home paid off. You miss paying your property taxes, and they can yank your home from under your feet because of said taxes that you didn't pay. So here's my question after I explain to you that. Do you ever truly own your home? I don't think so. I don't think so. But hey, that's just me. Alright, so I'm going to do this. And here is, yes, this is me. I'm shilling. Now, why am I shilling? Because I made this shit. It's already happening with many video games. Yeah, exactly, Dragon. Here we go. So this particular meme says, my day is fueled with snark, inspiration, fast fingers, and lots of coffee. This one over here, this particular design in my merch store says, I like it hot, I like it steamy, and I like to take my time. Coffee, the morning maker. And this is not only for, phone skins. I've got it on t-shirts and all kinds of stuff. And then there's this coffee cup right here. It says, the day starts after I have had enough caffeine to hear colors and wake the dead. So if you're interested in any of these merch, and if you play, if you happen to play 7 Days to Die or any zombie game that has coffee in it, I did a little theme like that too. It says, coffee, the zombie killing must-have beverage. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll pop that in the chat as well. Well, at least, let me go. Yeah, I'm in live chat. And that one's going over there. Okay, so that's cool. I like that. All right. Yeah, this is live chat. I got this on live chat. It shows me everything. And I'm looking over here at live chat. Yep. Because, you know, top chat, live chat, chat. So, let me cometh. Where is it here? Yep, it's here. Ha. Hello. You get to see my Thebes a little close up. Okay, so we have come to the end of the stream. So if any of the new people would like to, coffee is in Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, cool. I think you still have to pay homeowners insurance after paying off your mortgage. Yep, that never stops. That never stops. Property taxes and insurance never goes away. Never, ever goes away. Yep. So this is the part of the stream where if you guys are completely new and this is the very first stream of mine that you have caught, since we got about 9 more minutes, I wouldn't mind entertaining any questions that you guys may have to ask. And once again, I will direct you on YouTube to the wonderful little Streamlabs link below. It's like, you can pay off your car, but you still have to pay the tag, and you still have to have insurance on your car. Though you can go from full coverage to liability once you pay off your car, but you still have to pay for that tag so your car is street legal. Because, you know, they like to keep you paying taxes. Yeah, tax scams galore. It's that same little property tax thing that allows you in certain states to do through loophole laws, purchase $1 million+ home just by paying the property taxes. I don't know what the capital. I don't mean that kind of question. The sky is blue because that is how it's reflected. It's a scientific thing that I don't care to go into at the moment. You can Google what the capital of Algeria is, Batman. I told everybody. Everybody knows I suck at geography. Everybody knows I suck at geography. Because I do. I suck butt. I've never been good at geography. It's probably another reason why I would never professionally drive. Everything is state dependent. Yeah, that's the problem. Everything is state dependent. That is the problem. Everything tends to be state dependent. It's a shame, but yeah, some states don't require insurance to drive. And see, I don't like those states because it's, and this is what's going to get me in trouble with some people. I like paying for car insurance. The premium for full insurance will drop less the older your car gets. We're paying $50 for full coverage on our 2001 Chrysler Sebring. Yeah, but what they don't tell you, Lindsay, is there is a sweet spot of an age range of that particular driver where you get your optimum premium in order to pay for your car insurance. Once you pass a certain age, I think it's 65, your premium starts going up again because your risk as a driver starts to increase. I temped at a State Farm agency, and when I was helping to redo certain insurance policies or update people's policies, this particular MWM media is more world news, current events, political news, and things of that nature, Dragon Turtle. This particular channel is more news motivated. Maddy's House of Geek is the catch-all. I know this seems like the catch-all because it started that way until I just started focusing on news and current events. If you remove states' rights, you get Canada. Yep. So yeah. So I remember I was temping for State Farm and I was updating somebody's policy. They were in their 70s. I can't remember exactly 70 what. And their policy went from $65 a month to $80 a month because they were in a high-risk age bracket for being a driver. So, there's that. Yeah. I mean, it's just... Shit is nutty. I swear to God, shit is absolutely nutty nowadays. After I end the stream, I will be hopping into my Discord. So if you guys pop into the Discord and you see me deafened and muted, it's because I went to go make a sandwich because I'm getting hungry. But I will undeafen and unmute. This, let me see. The screaming. The streaming schedule has slightly changed on Fridays. Friday's stream is going to be an early afternoon stream for those of us in the United States. Because after conducting a couple of different experiments, I have concluded that it's not my computer, neither one of them. It's not YouTube and it's not Twitch. It's Spectrum and the bandwidth on Friday evenings that keeps making my streams buffer. So on Friday afternoons, I think my stream is going to start at about 2 or 2:30, and it's going to be over on Twitch. It is truly the clown decade. If you think property taxes make you a serf, just look at the college department and alimony, child support. Supposedly we get rid of slavery and deters prison. Yeah. My husband is paying child support arrears because his ex fucked him over. That's a long and arduous story. Yes, the Discord is public. Let me hand you, and I will give you an invite. So, I'm going to put that invite in here. Copy. Let me see. Invite link. Generate new link. Copy button. Copy button. There's my Discord. Paste. There you go. Just as soon as you pop in there, just let me know and I will give you permission so you can hop into the coffee club, which is where I will be hopping into after I get my foods. So don't think I have sent the invitation out there and forgotten about you. I do have to give you permissions because I have people of all ages in that server, and then there are some places that they're not allowed to go. Alright, here we go. Alright, Dragon Turtle just landed. Rolls, you are a coffee nut. Welcome. You are now free to move about the cabin. Alright. And on that note, my friends, if I do stream this evening over on Twitch, it is Tuesday, so God only knows if I'm going to, because I think I took Tuesdays off my gaming schedule. If I'm feeling cheeky, hubby and I just might stream a game. If not, we'll probably be in the Discord doing a watch party of some sort of anime. So be on the lookout for the either or announcement there. Until next time, my friends, behave. But if you can't behave, at least be good at it. Bye.